What's up, legends? Welcome to Blindside's preseason analysis. Kenty's here. Browny is back. Boys, how are you going? Today we are doing the Fins.
I'm wrapped that we got Brownie back in the house. Good to have you back, brother. We missed you
Cheers.
heaps. Yeah, man. And in the Somerville household here, I now officially have a college kid. So my eldest just
Yeah.
started college first day today. So yeah, pretty surreal.
Exciting. Congratulations, dude. That's
Awesome,
freaking
man.
insane. When you sent the photos through, I was like, you can see how proud you are.
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah.
massive. And how about you, Brownie? How are you doing?
Good, bro. Yeah. Officially 1 week until the new bub comes. Been a bit of an
Huge.
up and down week. Life throws you curveballs, and you just got to get over them. Just got to push on every day. And yeah, man, I'm just keen to be back on the potty and talk some footy with you lads. So looking forward to it.
Good stuff. No, I'm so keen. Dolphins has been a team I've been pretty keen to get into as well. Jump straight into their schedule for the season. So a somewhat early buy in round 6, but that's not deterring me from early investment at all. Like 5 weeks of the season is what arguably a fifth of the year. So there's no point to throw them aside. Then a buy in round 13, which I think is the first minor, and then a buy in round 21. So really, I think Dolphins are a strong case for probably they have good investments for the entire season. You buy early, you've got the coverage in round 6. You've only missed the first minor buy and have them for all of Origin. And then really round 21, they have a buy, but then you've got 6 straight rounds of them in the run home. So are you guys kind of seeing it the same? Is there any changes you'd add to that interpretation of the schedule? I'll start with you, Brownie.
Bro, all I see is that they play all major bye rounds, and
Mm,
I'm all for it. So the main Dolphins you target are very, very enticing because you
mm.
can hold them the whole year round pretty much. So
That's so true.
I love their schedule, man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally agree. And they are fast starters. And if you look at who they're playing first, Rabbitohs, Titans at home, I've got every reason to believe that those are going to be big, big, fast games.
And Sharks, like
And
easy
then
win.
real easy game in the Sharks away. Yeah. And then the first challenge will really be the Broncos. So they are gonna start fast and hard. So I think it's worth investing in some of those big dogs early.
Well, thanks for listening, fans, there for the podcast today. I won't take any shark rage bait on this podcast. So we'll see you on the next one. Let's jump into the players first. Player of interest, let's just get straight into the heavy stuff early. Herbie Farnworth. I'm arguing he's borderline must have. Now, we've touched on this on potties leading into this. And I guess what, 4 days ago, 3 days ago was when we recorded those first three. Now, Herbie Farnworth, super expensive, only has center coverage. In recent seasons of NRL Fantasy, that is a no-go zone. That's someone that you build into, you don't start with. But there is literally no guaranteed starting value of cheap price in the centers at this stage. We have the perceived idea of possibly Marcassini, Farley, possibly Tom Chester if he gets the center wing fullback DPP, but none of it's guaranteed. So I think with the fantasy landscape reset, it could be an idea to go hard and heavy in the centers. And you touched on this too, Kenty, which gave me a lot more security and made me finally come around, which was, yeah, if you pour money into Herbie and you pour money into Karaz, you can split them up to a degree. You can have Herbie in your centers paired with value. You can have Karaz in the wing fullback position paired with value, and it justifies to spend a little more. Herbie, 800K, only covers center, 63.2 average in 2025. I'm predicting him with a 0.82 ppm in 2026 with a 65.6 average at the end of the season. So slightly better this year than in 2025. But we'll go to you first here, Kenty. What's your take there on Herbs?
Yeah, I've been a big proponent of him pretty much right from the very end of last season, even when you were giving me grief for it.
Yeah.
And ultimately, a lot of teams, our structure has often been guns up front and then probably one gun out the back somewhere. You know, in past years, it's been like starting with Ponga or what have you. And I just started thinking through that at the start of the year, winger fullbacks have just been a graveyard of point creation, and it's just been horrible. And so I just started looking at Herbie as being my gun right from the very beginning. And then as this season has rolled through and we've just seen how dry it is in centre, it just only confirmed my kind of gut feel to go with him. And so basically my kind of strategy at this point is to start with him, which goes against everything that you would normally do, like you said, when it comes to finding value and creating cash. But I just don't see kind of really any other way. The other thing too is that he is playing and scoring like an edge. And I kind of want to dispel, though, that everyone kind of says, oh, we never spend money in centre. And I think that one line is going to stop people from investing in Herbie because it's kind of like this rule that we never spend big to start the year in centre. But the thing is, you wouldn't ever have any qualms about spending big when it comes to an edge or a mid. So if he plays like and scores like a forward, then why wouldn't you invest in him? We've now seen him do it for 2 years straight, where he's continued to keep growing and growing and getting better and better. He's now in that kind of zone where we've never seen a centre ever do what he does. I think you got to back the talent, you got to back the stats, and so I'm going to start with Herbie.
Yeah, I've come around 22.9% ownership currently as well. So I
Yeah.
think a lot of people are kind of moving towards the same page, but he's not on that level of, say, David Fafita of over 50% ownership yet. So he's still nowhere near pod, but definitely a point of difference in that center position. What about you, Brownie? Anything to add there on Herbs?
Bro, he's been in and out of my team. I was pretty set at the start of the season that he was going to be on my side. I'm just trying to juggle too many big guns at the moment. Like I'm trying to utilize having Haas, Cleary, Herbie, and it's just taking up too much of your total cap that you have. So he's in and out of my team, bro, but he's out of the moment, but I'm probably just going to put him back in. Like
Yeah.
he's just too good. As Kenty said last year, and it stuck with me a lot, is that he scores like a second rower. There's no dual edge center second rowers this year except for Aiken, and he probably won't even get a run on. So it's kind of like you don't have Lucas this year either as that handy duel. So you just kind of got to look at it and you're like, okay, well, who scores like a forward but is in that center position? And you got one answer, and that's Herbie.
Yeah.
So if you're willing to spend 800K on someone who's probably going to average 65 this year, I agree with that because we saw that game he had against the Wars. Sorry, Kenty. Where he had
I
that.
was at that game and I was freaking
Oh,
out.
man, when he had that massive first half and then fell to injury, man, he was on track for 100 plus. And that would have lifted his average over 65. I could definitely see it happening again. And yeah, he's probably just going to go back in my team. So,
Yeah. I probably think Charlie Staines would have even nearly scored 100 against the Wars that day. Wars just aren't quality. Just kidding. I'm just getting my shots in, fellas, because I know they're coming. Now, next player, I'll turn this one to you, Kenty. Is there anyone on the top of your head that you have some big statements on, like big avoid, big watch, or another certain buy within the team?
Probably my two kind of big players, really. I'm watching very closely. He's actually in my team at the moment is Salmon Cobo. I really rate him outside of Herbie. I think that if you own the two of them together, you're only going to end up scoring more points because I think Herbie will get the 4 for the try assist. Cobo will get the 8 for the try. He might even do a tackle bust on his way through. However, it is dependent when it comes to Cobo with how well he has kind of got that work ethic in his game. You know how we've often seen he can be quite lazy, can disappear as large portions of a game. But from all reports, he's looking fitter, stronger, faster. He looks to have shed lots of weight. He's really putting in the hard yards. So maybe we see a better mindset also. So he's heavily on watch list at the moment. And playing around with actually having him in my team. The other one that I would say is my biggest avoid is Donahue. I'm really worried that people are really loading up on Donahue, thinking that he's likely to kind of be that savior in our hooker role. But I'm pretty concerned. Something that Browny said the other day is basically I'm staying away from all forwards until we actually know their roles. And it's something that you and I talked heavily about, Jai, is knowing and understanding the role before you jump in. And I just feel like people will jump in on Kurt because of last year, and he did an awesome job there, for about 6 to 8 rounds. I just don't see that necessarily being the case from the beginning, right from the start. You would need to kind of see him pretty much on at the 13 for me to really go there. But we kind of know that 13 looks to be locked up elsewhere. So from my mind, I would not be investing there. And it's already creeping up past 8% ownership. So
Yeah.
those are the two kind of main players for me.
Yeah, I agree with you too. And I kind of put out that reel on Instagram regarding this whole log jam
Mm.
in the forward rotation. And I didn't even include Donahue in that list. So again, that's five. It's like you got Finay Fuiaki, Tom Gilbert now confirmed on one edge. So you've got this log jam of, say, yeah, as I said, Finay Fuiaki, Max Plath, where's he going to play in this rotation? Morgan Knowles in at lock. Connolly Lamuelu was a name on everyone's tongues. You got Oren Keeley going to the Storm next year. He was a starter. And now you throw Kurt Donahue into that mix. Yes, we don't have Jeremy Marshall-King, but it's highly likely that he will return within a time frame that kind of takes away any potential value. And same goes with Plath. He's due back around 4 to 6. So
But they're actually saying Plath could be ready round 1, could be ready round 2.
He's
And then
racing it, bro.
and
He's racing it.
they're also saying that Jeremy Marshall-King could be earlier than 4. So
yeah,
the runway's not really there.
Yeah, exactly. You're just kind of dabbling, and you're going to spend a trade without gaining any benefit from it within that first stage of the season. Like, to be honest, we're going to talk about this down the track, but for me right now, I got Brendan Smith and Chris Randall as my hookers, and I'm considering the idea of Damien Cook. That's pretty much where I'm sitting, because I think Damien Cook, we'll talk about him more in the Dragons potty, but he's in a position where he's probably going to play that hooker lock rotation again. And there's no Jack DeBellin, which means there's probably the potential for him to play 70 to 80 minutes like he did in those last 6 to 7 games at the end of 2025, and huge average in that position. So I don't see the whole concept of dabbling with these, say, Bailey Haywoods, Reed Marnies, Kurt Donahue's in 2026. There is no guaranteed value. It is a complete dice roll. But there's others there that, yeah, they may not be the best hookers in the world, but they're going to make you money or score you points early in the season. And that's what we're looking for. We're looking to build value in our squad. So, yeah, that's probably where I would sit on it. Do you have anything to add to that, Brownie?
One player that I was hoping would get a spot and is more than deserving of getting a spot, but he will not get a spot, Trey Fuller.
Yeah.
Man, if he gets that number 1 jersey, by miracle, round 1, he is in my side.
Yep, guaranteed.
For a dude who can pump out massive scores. And ideally, I think the Dolphins' best lineup is Fuller at fullback, Hammer in the centers, and Averillo just messes out, unfortunately. But I don't think that's how it's going to play out with Wolf's side. I would love to see Trey Fuller there, but I just don't think it's going to happen. So for me at the moment, he is in a void, but he is very high on my watch list come round 1.
Yeah, if he's named, hey, I to tell you what, Trey Fuller's already said in 2024, 2025, he's dedicated to the Dolphins. He's not interested in going elsewhere, and he's sort of happy to play reserve grade and wait for his opportunity. But far out, Cronulla, throw some money at this guy, because we need a comeback. Can you imagine him in our side in 2027 and beyond? Like, dude, Sharks go from top 4, top 6 side to winning the premiership 8 years in a row and doubling what the Panthers did for their dynasty. So
what's wrong with Kennedy? What's wrong with Kennedy?
He's just not at that level anymore. You know, like, he's a great player. He's kind of remind me of David Peachy in a way. He's a great player, but he doesn't have that X factor of what we need in the NRL anymore. Like, look at the Storm. You guys have Pappenhausen, and now you're replacing it with Fa'alongo. You look at the Wars, and you've got Chance there. You've got Roger that can play at fullback, and you've also got Tane Tuolpiki, who's actually injured, but he could play fullback as well. Like, you've got that X factor. Keanu Kinney at the Titans. It's like Sharks are missing that. And I think if we can fix up that position, you've got King Nico, roll out the carpet, Majesty's back, in halfback, Tricky Trindle, one of the best ball players close to the line. But this isn't a Sharks podcast, and we'll be here for 2 hours if I talk about it any longer. So
you forgot to mention KWZ, you know.
Oh, KWZ. Well, now guess what, Kenty? We'll be putting a filter on you for this whole podcast. Fairly locked. But I agree with Trey Fuller. He is someone that we've been dabbling with, you and I in particular, Kenty, since basically the app opened. And it seems obvious that their best side is Fuller and Hammer in the back five. Back five. But I don't think it's going to happen either. So something I'm just monitoring. But do you have anything to add to that one?
Yeah, I kind of liken that very much to, you know, what we're seeing at the Knights, where Sharp kind of can't get a look in, and And basically, he needs to be on the field. It's exactly the same with Trey Fuller. I think as soon as he's on the field, things happen. He needs to be there. Like, yeah, it's such a waste if he's sitting on the bench or playing Q Cup. Like, I just think, man, what are they doing? And it's just criminal that you got probably one of the most electric and best players in the entire league can't get a starting week in, week out spot. I absolutely hate it. And I think I put him, he was one of the first players in my team as soon as the app opened, mostly because I just so want to see the day that he's full
Yeah.
time playing at fullback, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's really no
Yeah,
different to the Rabbitohs. You've got Latrell Mitchell, who's the
yeah,
fullback that Jai Gray sniffing for a couple of years. They moved Latrell Mitchell to centre, hopefully, to start this season. Jai Gray gets a start in at fullback. You're literally looking at the exact same scenario. Get Hammer out of fullback, whack him into the centres, put Trey Fuller on the field. Is it that Hammer can play centre? It's not like you're putting him out of position. And Trey Fuller is a machine, like
yeah,
absolutely.
He plays center at Origin. Like,
Yeah,
yeah. It's
exactly.
weird.
he's more than
And then
capable.
the other thing too for us, from a value perspective, so he's priced at 41. It's not hard to see that he could bump that up minimum to a 50. So the value is hectic. And there's obviously 8% of owners who feel similarly to us, who are just dreaming and hoping.
Yeah, definitely dreaming and hoping. There is one I want to talk about here, guys. Now, we've got an inflated halves market. Definitely. We've got so much value there. Moses, Dewey. I've seen teams with Jerome Hughes. All that aside, we've got the Sanders, all the rest of it. Pezzett, Atkinson, buddy. You could have a whole team of halves in 2026. I currently have in my squad Isaiah Katoa. And I think he is going to be one of the most upside plays early in the season. 10.6% ownership currently. He is 706K, but in a fully fit Dolphins side, I can see him being more deadly than he was in 2025. And I think to optimize point scoring and maybe take that 706K bracket up to like a low 800K bracket, there's every chance that you could start with Isaiah Katoa and get a bit of a leverage in the ranks. He doesn't play Origin. He's highly unlikely to play Origin anyway, with Cleary and Moses in the frame. And over the Origin period, they only miss one minor bye at the start in round 13, and they play the rest. Dominant person that you can literally have in your side all year. I've got him. What are your thoughts? I'll start with you, Brenny.
I like him based on his schedule. He excelled last year. He really stepped up into that next generational playmaker. He was talked about so much. Me personally, like I think he's been in my team once just because of just reshuffling and trying to figure things out. What I prefer this year personally is like your Moses, Dewey's, Cleary's, guys who are going to goal kick, right? Because obviously that's additional points. If Katoa did perchance, if he did goal kick, he would be in my side 100% just because of the makeup of the Dolphins. They're just such an attacking prowess side. I am probably going to look for value in cheaper halves this year, but I can see why you've gone Katoa because you literally put him in from the start. He's set and forget pretty much the whole year, and he's going to be a top 3 half anyway. We know it. I'm just looking for value earlier on is my stance this year. But man, if you got Katoa, I'm not going to be like, nah, don't do it.
Yeah.
It's just the makeup of your team. So, but bro, yeah, I rate it.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to go through the roof in terms of like value game.
Nah.
It is more of a long-term play, someone that I'm getting undervalued to lock in for the rest of the season, possibly because we've talked on this a couple of times, either off podcast or on. You can look at 21 players in your squad and ask yourself how many are going to be there at the end of the season, and it's likely to like say 2 or 4 at maximum. Isaiah Katoa is that for me, and I think in that position it's great. I'd also say too, a little curveball is Isaiah Katoa's backup goal kicker. If as Jermaine Asako goes down, Katoa's stepping up, and there's every chance that it could happen. You're not guaranteed to ever see that, but even a poor form with goal kicking from Asako, which is hard to expect. But you got Isaiah Katoa there as the backup goal kicker, so that's in the frame. And even with goal kicking, I don't think we have any guarantee on, say, the likes of Moses. I think although Moses, I'm high on Moses. I'm not saying I'm not. It is between him and Isaiah Katoa for this half position, and I can do a lot more with him there with finance wise. But I am worried about Moses in that Dylan Brown didn't really do anything in the halves in terms of, say, gameplay management. When Moses was in the team, he did all of that. And now this year, you're removing Brown and putting in Pezzett, who will likely take on a bigger share of those duties. And yes, Moses gets the goal kicking back, but I kind of think that just replaces what's been lost. And as good as the Eels could potentially be this year, we are yet to see it. So there isn't any role certainty. And there's every reason to suggest that their attack doesn't really get to that level of Moses kicking heaps and heaps and heaps of goals to replace it. So I am a little bit softer on Moses now than I was to start the year. It's literally the first time he's beat out of my squad for Isaiah Katoa right now. And I could change my mind again. But I will turn to you now, Kenty. Do you have anything to add there on Izzy?
Yeah, he's definitely my backup option after Moses. So Moses is in for me at the moment, but ICAT I definitely have as sort of on my radar to switch out. And it's mostly I want to see how Moses and Pezzett play. I agree with you. I think the role is going to be really, really important, especially with Pezzett. And so I just want to be able to see what that's looking like. The other thing that's in the back of my mind is Moses has been in and out of the Eels for the past 2, 3 seasons, and lots of people who have invested in him have then been hurt, pretty quickly. So I just want to kind of see he's moving freely and all of that. So with ICAT, I'm really, really high on him. I think Katoa has got a huge kind of ability to step up even further because like last year he had a 55 average. I can see that pushing past the 60 pretty happily. His kick meters were 430 average. I could see that going up. So that there can be points there. His meters of 108 average is quite low. So again, I could see that changing considerably. So there's definitely you can see where the room for more points can definitely grow. And he had one try assist average every single game. And I think he scored something like maybe 2 tries across the entire season. So it's not going to take much for that to climb, and I can see that happening. He's only getting better. His control of that team is only getting better. That game when Herbie was going mental with the Wars, it was so impressive watching Katoa just pull the strings. It was something else to watch him live, and so he's real high on my radar for sure. So I don't have him in there yet because I just wanting to watch both teams play in both halves, and then I'll reserve my judgment once trials have kind of come through.
Nice. Do we have anyone else you guys want to touch on from this team? There is probably one I'd flick over is Tom Flegler. I've seen some teams with him in there. Get rid of him. It's highly likely he won't start. He's coming off a 2-year nerve injury that nearly ended his career. He's going to have managed minutes coming back into this squad to see if he can even handle it. And we're going to get a good idea of what that'll look like in trials. I think in trials, he'll probably only play the second, and he'll probably only play for, say, 10, 15 minutes just to give him a run. He is not on the radar. Yes, he's cheap, prior 600K plus player, but we're going to keep going back to this in preseason because I think it's like so valuable to have this perspective is you need to see it before you buy it, or you need to have a very, very logical and grounded reason as to why it's going to happen. And Kenty has touched on this so much. Role, minutes, security. That's the only way to guarantee value. Just because you think it could happen, which we'll get into Dylan Brown very soon on the Knights podcast, just because you think it's going to happen doesn't guarantee it will. And a player, my perspective is the player as an individual means less than the environment that they're playing in. So you can be the best player in the NRL. You could be Nathan Cleary. You move to the Knights, and is there any guarantee he's going to score at the same rate in fantasy that he did when he was at the Panthers? I'd say no. I'd say he'd still be a great player, but the environment is going to cap his fantasy output, and it's the same as everything else.
Example of what you're saying around how he's going to come back from injury is in his own team. We all watched what happened with Tommy Gilbert last year. He had one great game and then he just kind of really, really fell away and then got injured again. So, for me, Flegler is in the exact same boat. I would be just watching and I'm stoked for the guy. I would love to have him in my team, mostly because it's like, wow, what he's had to battle through to get back. What a legend.
Morale.
Yeah, correct. Yeah,
Clap of my
nothing.
emergencies.
Nothing else. And as much as I'd love to see him back in a Maroons jersey, just for the guy to kind of get back to the top flight of his craft, it would be incredible. So,
All right, I guess, do we have any more to touch on here, or can we move on to the next potty?
Move on.
Move on.
Move on.
send
Get
it.
into the jargons. All right. Well, thanks heaps for listening, guys. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, follow Brownie's Breakdown on Instagram, Kenty's Market Move on Instagram, and Blindside NRL on Instagram as well. Keep connected for your NRL Fantasy preseason analysis and posts the whole entire season. Help guide you. But thanks heaps, guys. I know it's quite uncomfortable being a Warriors fan and a Storm fan on our podcast. We tolerate you for a little bit, and then I need a break for a couple of days before I come back. So, yeah, thanks for jumping on.
Yeah, up the wires.
Yeah, up the storm.
He hits it.